just waiting for you.
Hey everyone, Victor Lucia here, founder and president of Brooklyn Fishing Club. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of the BFC Podcast, the #1 fishing podcast in the Northeast. This episode is brought to you by Brooklyn Fishing Club Apparel. We've updated our pricing and restocked everything in the shop. For a limited time, you can purchase any 2 items for $15 off using the code COUPON15, all caps for the word coupon. Plus, if you're a member, you get an extra 10% off at checkout. Say you want a shirt and a hat, only $45. Visit brooklynfishingclub.com/shop to take advantage of this combo deal or shop right on our IG page at Brooklyn Fishing Club. Our guest on this episode is London Rosiere, aka at London Fishes on IG. She's made a name for herself as a prolific big game angler down south, but she has roots in New York State too. She's logged countless hours fishing for everything from striped bass to giant swordfish. London, how you doing today?
Hi, it's a beautiful day here in New Orleans. How you doing there?
Doing pretty good.
Is it cold?
It's pretty cold. A lot of snow still on the ground, but we just did an ice fishing trip with the club this past weekend. That went pretty well, but I got to tell you, that ice fishing thing is a real grind. I don't know how many more years of that I have in me, but anyway.
Wow. Yeah, people switched to shorts yesterday here in New Orleans.
Oh,
so,
did they?
We're pretty spoiled.
How wonderful. Now, I'm used to this winter by now. You know, this is my 33rd winter in the Northeast, so, you know, it's pretty much
Well,
par
looking
for the
back,
course.
I can't believe I spent so much time in the Northeast myself. I've been through quite a few winters, and it's kind of funny because I'm used to not having them now that I've been back south for like a year now.
That's good.
Like I forget what it's like to be in the cold snow, and
I wish I could forget.
Right?
So you spent some time in New York City, right?
I did. I actually in 2005 I got kind of stranded in New York. I'm born and raised in New Orleans, and I had gone for a 2-day trip to film a commercial, and they started the evacuation for Hurricane Katrina the day that I was supposed to leave. So I didn't really know or take it as seriously. You know, there's always a hurricane a week kind of here in New Orleans. And no one really thought it was going to be what it was. So I kind of hung out another day in the city, didn't really think very much of it. And then the next day it hit, and then the levee broke and we lost our home. And then, it was quick thinking. And then, the rest of everyone's lives changed, from then on. And I decided to stay in New York. So yeah, I had been in New York City since 2005, I guess, since Katrina. Yeah.
So when did you eventually go back down? Like after the storm hit and cleared, like you went back down to see what was up, or?
So it had hit actually a week before my 20th birthday. And that was, end of August. I wasn't able to make it back down to New Orleans until I think Christmas time or right after, because of them not letting people in and the logistics of it all. It had been about 3 months or so, I think, and I remember coming back and my mom was driving me around. It was just so surreal for me because I had only expected to leave for 2 days and be back. You
Wow.
know what I mean? And then my whole life was different. And I don't know. I mean, I didn't really get to see it all, which, I looking back, kind of wish I was able to. And I'm so grateful for all the people that did come and help. And, I was sort of in my own sort of, I don't know, like I was 19 in New York City trying to figure it out too. So I had my own mountain to kind of climb at the time. And I didn't realize how much was changing. So, I had come back, things were destroyed. People were, doing what they can to rebuild. I think the biggest loss that I, realized was people losing their sense of spirit,
Just crushed,
so,
right?
right. I mean, it was just devastating. But
So then after that, I mean, there were other pretty serious personal obstacles that you had to deal with, right?
right. So with watching, the destruction, especially, in my own, direct family, my mom had taken it really hard, I guess, because she was raised, she had lost her parents very young and kind of struggled through life, and finally had fought to get where she was as a single hardworking mother, and kind of had everything, looking good. And then the storm came and kind of took everything away. And I think she felt really tired with fighting, and she really just wanted things to go back to the way they were. And she wasn't able to really imagine things getting better. And she let her light go and started, just this depressive, just downward spiral of self-doubt. And, years later, she did end up dying from it. She died of renal liver failure, which to me was, a self-induced suicide, just because she, like I said, she didn't want to fight anymore. I think it ripped her spirit out. So,
How did
so
that
when
impact you at that time? Like how?
at the time it was, I had struggled in New York for a while, just being alone out there and not having any family or any real friends, and kind of having to figure things out on my own, like since I was a baby, kind of 19, that I didn't really know how bad it was because I wasn't here in New Orleans. And when I would come in town, things would happen that weren't necessarily like, she was good at hiding things and this and that. And when it happened, I didn't realize how bad it had been. We had tried to help her for a while, and there were issues. But it made me feel confused as to what I'm supposed to do next. And I didn't know where I wanted to be, and I didn't know how to find my purpose. So I remember being in New Orleans after her funeral and thinking, well, what am I going to do? I knew I was going to get like a little bit of money from her, passing, and I didn't know what to do with it. This was sort of a chance for me to start new, but I also felt like I needed her, some guidance, and then I ultimately felt like it was within me. And in order for me to figure out what that was, it was to remove myself from other influences that, may have in the past made me lose track of who I was, just like society had taken dance out my life because I needed a job to pay my expensive rent. And I just, I felt like I had lost track of who I was and who my purpose was. So I went to Montauk because I didn't know anybody there. And it was, nature, and I hadn't been, I was in New York for so long. I didn't have a garden or anything like that. And I just felt like it was somewhere where I could go and every day take the time to, push myself athletically, mentally, spiritually, creatively, and that if I gave myself that care, I would figure out what I was supposed to do after the summer. And ironically enough, I did end up starting Camp Soul Grow while I was there in Montauk, just seeing the need for children to be able to detach from devices and kind of slow things down and see and realize what they even have around them, kind of break the socioeconomic bubbles out there too. So I decided to do these free workshops taught by everyday people in the community and businesses that were open for kids of every background to come and figure out who they are and what they want to be, and meet other kids and try new things and gain self-esteem. And I called it Camp Soul Grow. And
where can we find Camp Soul Grow online?
campsoulgrow.org, campsoulgrow.org. The whole idea is to give children opportunities to find self-love and self-esteem and believe in themselves and figure out who they are and what they want to be with no pressure. So,
That's beautiful.
thank you.
well-
It's so grow on both levels because the people that teach the workshops and the businesses leave with that sense of knowing that they impacted children's and other people's lives. And I think it would have helped my mother, in her downward time to be able to have opportunities to touch other people, so it goes for both ways. I say, it's the cycle.
London, how did you get your start fishing?
Actually, my mom used to take me and my brother as children. We used to go just growing up. I think it's so cool that like single mom would take her 2 kids out there. And then when she passed and I ended up in Montauk fishing community / capital, of course I ended up fishing out there. And while running Camp Soul Grow, it became very important for me to take the kids out and get the kids on the water. So, and then unfortunately my brother passed away too in 2016. And then it became even more important for me personally to be out on the water. And I don't know, I feel like I was like pulled out there, and still to this day, it is what brings me out there, and it's where I feel I can find them. So that, it's very special because there is like the full circle of she taking us as kids, her passing, me finding Montauk, which led me to find Camp Soul Grow, bring the kids and me out there. And then now I'm back home fishing in their honor, which is, just to me, such a beautiful story. And I know they'd be so proud and happy, and they'd want to come out with me, so I don't know. I'm really grateful for my journey, even though I didn't really know at times where it was taking me,
Yeah. And like we spoke about earlier, before we got on the air, they're there with you when you're fishing. I feel the same way. So,
oh, absolutely.
They're
the birds.
But yeah, they are the birds for sure. And I'm really grateful for everything. I feel like when I'm fishing too, like similar to what you said, like I just feel closer not only to like family members that have passed during my lifetime, but sometimes I feel like I'm closer to my entire ancestral family tree. Like, like I feel like there's more, I don't know. I don't want to get too
a deep meaning.
Yeah.
No, I mean, I absolutely get it.
That's where I feel most connected, like that.
It's beyond spiritual out there.
Yeah, it's I tell people that's my church. Like I definitely believe in God, but like I also believe in the fish god. So I guess I'm polytheistic. I don't know. But let me ask you this random question that I ask everybody: do you have any superstitions for fishing?
Do I have any superstitions?
Yeah.
I am the anti-superstition person, so I'll be like, all right, we're going to get him today. And so a lot of captains will be like, shh, don't say that, like it's bad luck. Or I'll, turn on the live well before he starts throwing the net. Or
what about bananas?
Like, come on, you got to put it out there that it's going to happen and have the positive energy. You can't be worried about
I used to be of the other mindset of like, follow all these superstitions. Oh, if I see a blue herring flying, I might as well go home. But
I don't know. I think the positive outlook.
Yeah, you got to see it. You got to will it.
Being grateful for it before it happens. You gotta
just
put it
being
out
grateful
there.
to be out there.
Right. It's funny because in the mornings
it's a fine line between like trying to limit your expectations while also trying to will into existence a bite.
Exactly.
You
gotta say thank you.
You like
first.
have to trick your mind and trick the fish guys. You're like, I'm just happy to be out here, but we're gonna get a fish.
Absolutely.
Like it's definitely a fine line. But how about bananas on a boat? You believe in that one?
I don't believe in it. I'm sure there have been some bananas on our boat that I have not known about it. We've still brought in the fish. But no, I've been on some boats before where people have gotten really mad at other people bringing bananas. But I don't bring them out of respect for other people's superstition.
It's a respect of the superstition. You don't necessarily believe it, but you respect it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
My if I had a lucky thing though, I guess I'm into pineapples. Like I'm a pineapple on a boat girl.
I've heard pineapples. I've heard fried chicken too.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Yeah, I've heard that's a good one too. Besides that, that's all I really heard. But that's funny. Yeah, I have heard of the whole pineapple thing. Yeah.
Well, and then like, whenever we're like putting our bait up, I'll spit on the bait. That was my mom's,
Just give it a quick
her
blessing.
secret. Right.
That's badass.
So those are always the lucky ones.
That's awesome. So you got a big month coming up, huh?
I do. Actually, today, I'm loading everything up. I got a place in Venice. We have an insane lump season ahead. Finally, we've been waiting on the weather. The weather this whole year really has, as everyone knows, has just been
It's
pretty
been like
frustrating.
everything else about the year. Let me
Right,
ask you real quick.
yes.
What do you mean by lump season? It's just like a lump of time, or
So, well, lump season is the time of the year. It's mid-February till April-ish, where all the big, huge, jumbo 200-pound yellowfin tunas come to the East Lump, and that's where
oh,
we fish. So
got
it's
it.
called lump season because this is the time of the year where all those huge, huge, huge monster fish come. So,
That should
a
be a
lot of
shirt.
it's
Lump season.
do it. Let's do
Let's do it. I'll
it.
design it. You sell it
Right?
down there.
Right.
Sell a
And
million
it's,
of them.
you're aiming for the fat bottom girls.
Yeah,
We'll
that
talk
that
after.
slogan could be taken many ways. But we'll talk offline
Exactly.
about that for sure.
Right.
So you got
So
lump
yeah,
season
it's a
coming
very
up.
exciting season.
Ha-
What happens too in lump season is like not only is it very busy and it's every sort of fisherman sort of, on the bucket list fish, but it's also sort of like our spring here. It's cold at first and then it starts to warm up and then
oh, it must
and
be
then it is summertime.
beautiful. Oh my
I'm
God.
so excited.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
So
So
how long
we're
of a
really
ride is it
busy.
out to the lump?
It depends on where you leave from, but I would say about like 30 miles out once you get out the pass.
Okay.
So depending on the boat and stuff, I'm working this lump season for the Ecstatic Freeman. So Freeman, amazing boat, amazing captain, and so we get out there pretty fast. Also, I should say there's an awesome tournament happening right now with all of the charter boats and other people too. But really, I think it's like between the charter boat companies,
Hmm.
the Louisiana Tuna and Wahoo Classic, which is
Isn't
kind
that
of
an
fun
ongoing
because
one? It's not like a 1 day thing, right? It's like a
no,
month or
it's like
something.
yeah, it's like they extended it this year. It's like a little bit longer, but you
That's
have
cool.
4 days. And it's cool because it's the people that work out there, and it's like a competition between the guides, which I think is
Yeah,
fun.
bragging rights. Are you going to
So
be in on
tomorrow's
that?
our first day. Yeah,
Oh,
tomorrow's our first.
sick.
We're claiming, we're gonna claim tomorrow's our day one. So
So do they,
we're gonna
is it
bring the
the,
heat.
I bet you are. So do they, is it that serious of a tournament where they're going to put like a judge on your boat to keep an eye on everything, or
No, we have,
honor
fortunately
system?
enough these days. Well, you have like the cell phone, you have to record, with the wristband and the people on the boat and the time and
You have to
it
record it
has to
from the
be,
hookup to the leader?
it's got to be recorded on a video phone.
And you guys are
You
all
like bringing it in the
setting
boat.
your own hooks, or it's like you're trolling and kind of they're setting themselves, or
Well, so it's for tuna, wahoo. They got king mackerel, I think, in this year. I think they even have blackfin. So I don't really know the specifics of the rules
yeah.
of the tournament, but because it's changed too this year. This is the second year they did it.
Oh,
That
okay.
they're doing it. But I'm just so excited to get out there, and that's really
Yeah,
my thing
that's what
with
it's
it
all
all every
about,
day.
right? I mean,
Even in the worst days and the worst weather, people will
the
always
worst
laugh at me
days when you
because
only
people
catch
are
a
like,
200
"How
pound
terrible!" Right?
yellowfin,
No, well, that doesn't happen every
a
day.
50-pound yellowfin.
I love the days where you fish and you fish and you fish, and sometimes you don't come back with what you want. I still love them anyway.
Yeah, you have to. Otherwise, you better
Yes.
pick up golf.
No, thank you.
Yeah,
I
no,
mean, no
thank
offense
you.
to golfers, but
Offense to
I just
golfers. You guys,
I
you guys
love
are a
being out
special
there.
breed. All right, everybody's always telling me you got to get on the golf course if you want to, be a businessman. Man,
That's
get on a
funny.
fishing boat. Be a
Yeah.
businessman. Kidding me.
Well, when are you going to come down and fish with us?
Thinking about meeting you guys at the lump in like 24 hours and trying to
Listen,
gas
let's
up the
go.
BFC jet and we'll just
Let's
cruise down.
go.
No, but in all seriousness, I'm going to Well, I don't even want people to know where I'm going these days because of the haters. And that's something
Oh
we can
God.
come back to because we were having a good laugh about the haters before. Like, we're both people that are trying to help people, both people that are trying to do good things for the fishing community. And at the same time, we have these religious haters who just love to come after us. Like, let's talk about it a little bit. I mean, what do you deal with as a
Just a little
female
bit.
angler in terms of hatred and
Yeah.
jealousy from trolls and
Oh,
other anglers? Like, let's
I
give this
don't
like
really
5 minutes
know.
and then we're moving on. That's it.
I don't really know because I feel I'm naive to the way people are in general sometimes. I am all about being honest and loving and, empathizing for people. And, I guess even though I'm 35 years old, I still haven't like realized that not everyone is like that. So I don't really understand a lot of it sometimes. And I've never really been too jealous of a person I don't really, there's
To
things
send a
that I want.
DM and try to ruin their day? You've
I
never
couldn't
done that?
imagine doing that. Like, you know what I mean? So that's my thing, is that I feel it's hard for me to imagine. It's hard for me, even when people tell me that that's the reason people treat me in certain ways or that I'm held back from certain opportunities.
Wait,
I
what do you
still don't
mean?
understand it. I'm
What
like,
what
but
do you
what do
mean
you
you're held
mean?
back from certain opportunities?
Oh my goodness. I mean, I can't
Because
work for certain people, or I can't rent from certain people because they're girlfriends or baby mamas or whatever it
oh,
is.
so you've
It's
gotten that spiel from guys before. It's like, hey, listen, London, I'd love to help you, but my wife fucking hates you.
oh yes, they're not allowed to. Who has not met me before, who would,
Oh my
has no
god.
idea that like I'm not trying to do anything with their guy or
Yeah,
whoever.
yeah, yeah.
But just like it's been difficult for me and quite expensive too, because it's one thing to be a deckhand down there, but it's another thing to be a deckhand as a woman down there that's single and that like what can I say?
So I
I
got
have a good heart and
I gotta ask this. I'm gonna get a little Howard Sternish. Like
oh goodness,
on like a weekly basis, like
oh goodness.
how much, not even including the DMs you must get online, like how much are you sexually harassed like at the workplace, like on a given like week or whatever?
On the boat, it's funny because I think well, on the boat, guys, it's not sexual harassment. I think what it is sometimes they see me and they want to like sum me up as either someone who's just going to come on the boat and sit there and take pictures and,
Yeah, take pictures with
what's
their
she doing?
fish.
Or,
Like, yeah.
right. Or, and then, or there's also like the guys who are kind of like, I don't know, feel threatened by me too, that I kind of know how to fish. And how do you know how to do it? So I don't feel like it's sexual
A
harassment.
lot of
It's funny.
condescension, a lot of
No,
condescending stuff.
a little, I mean, definitely doubt. They try and sum me up, but usually what happens is we'll start fishing and, our job is to get fish on the boat. And I'm very great with the customers. I love our customers. Every day that the customers say goodbye, I'm like, no, like,
You're like,
stay.
what's your email? What's your Insta?
It's true because we spend hours out there in the day and we open up and it's amazing. I mean, look,
Yeah.
put it this way. After like 2 hours, we're all peeing in front of each other, more or less anyway. Like, you may as well be
All
open
bets are
with the
off.
person.
Yeah.
So right. So I make friends with our customers very easily.
That's great.
And so like there's no real sexual harassment. Obviously there's comments that are made, but if it's a really hot day and I'm not trying to have a farmer's tan
Your
line on my
wetsuit on
arm,
that you're
I'll
required to
right,
wear.
right. I'll say, "Hi guys, do you mind if I wear my bathing suit?" And there will be the laugh, like, "Ha ha ha!" Like, "Yeah, we mind." Like,
Yeah.
no, they're like, no. But I do it
And
out of
then the
respect.
one wife on the boat who's just like glaring at
She
you like, I
doesn't.
mind,
No,
bitch.
it's not like that.
No, I'm just kidding.
No, most of the wives on the boat like me being on the boat because they can ask me questions and how it goes, and I have things for them that they might need, or whether
Yeah,
it's
I mean,
gear or
I've
whatever.
been on, out of all the charters I've been on in my life, I think I've had two mates that were female, and they were awesome, and I'll never forget those
I love
trips
it.
because
I feel like
I feel like, I don't know, the like, as a female angler in general, like you're dealing with a whole different set of obstacles to overcome in terms of trolls and haters and doubters and all that. But if you can still be cool and keep it together and be like, I don't care, and hold it down and be yourself, then people are going to love you, and it's going to make for a more memorable trip. Whereas I feel like, no offense to some of these dudes, but like there's a lot of guys in this industry, like first mates, captains, where it's like, at what point did you throw customer service out of the window? Like, I
Right,
get it. You
exactly.
woke up hungover and like, oh God, you have to go fishing today for a living. Ugh, it's so tough. I
Oh
mean,
my
it is
goodness.
tough, but at the same
It's
time, it's
tough work, but I
awesome
understand
if
what
you
you're
love
saying for
it. You know
sure.
what I'm saying? Like, if you love it, it's awesome. I mean, it's better than sitting in a cubicle all day. That's for damn sure, even if you're making less
Right.
money. And it's just like, just be cooler. I don't like people. I could go on and on
I
about
get it.
captains
And
that
I
are
was
like,
always
why doesn't this crew want to come back out with me or whatever? And it's like, well, your first mate was an asshole. Like, I don't know what to tell you, man. Like, and it even, I don't know. Do you experience like that whole like lack of customer service vibe like across the board in this industry, especially with charters and especially
Well, what I
with
was going to
like
say is that
sport
right.
fishing?
So every year since I had started Camp Soul Grove for my birthday, my mission like was to go and try and catch a tuna fish. So I had gone to, you know, Bermuda, all kinds of different places for like 3 or 4 years and couldn't get one. So I was the customer. So now that I'm not the customer, I'm the deckhand, right?
Mm,
I understand, and I have a level of, customer service that I expect to give them because I know what it's like to be the customer who it's a lot of money that you're paying and you have
yeah.
these expectations from this, the least they can do is this. I understand all
And
that.
you're not
So,
guaranteed to catch fish, but you should
and
be
we're
able to
right,
at least
right.
guarantee a good, happy time. Like, that's the
Absolutely.
very least. But
Absolutely. And so
still,
I'll
that
even say like,
escapes
good
so
morning,
many people.
I'm your flight attendant. Let me know what you need because it's fine. Like I'm there for them,
Yeah.
that's what my job is. And I love
So
it.
let
I
me
really
ask you
do.
this. Do the haters ever get you down? Do they ever get to you?
Well, obviously it's hard to continue doing things in an industry where there aren't a lot of women to kind of lean on for support and stuff like that. And then when those women become the people, it's a constant reminder that, you know, love yourself, you know, don't worry about
Yeah.
what they say. But yeah, I mean, it bothers me because I'm a little sensitive at times, but at the same time, I'm smart enough to know that like people are only hating because
They
they
love
want
you.
something that or they don't have something. I don't know.
They hate
Like
us
I
because they
said, I
ain't
don't
us.
want to think
I
about
think a
it.
lot of it has to do with like, a lot of, and I've said this before, like a lot of people want to fish for a living. They think they can start a YouTube channel and be the next black tip. They think that it's all fun and games, and they don't
Right.
understand any concept of the sacrifice that goes into trying to make a living in this
Oh well,
ridiculously tough industry. I mean, I worked
that's exactly
in the
it.
hip hop industry for 5 years before I got into this, and I thought that was like
Oh,
cutthroat and tough. I was like,
no, this is
but this is
right.
crazy. Like, especially with Facebook and all these groups, and people can just sit behind their keyboards and their phones and say
Right. And
whatever
I
they want, and
noticed
they have no idea how it impacts like the individual that it all comes back to. Because at the end of the day, we're all humans. Like, I'm not somebody that can just get hated on like every day and be like, yeah, I'm totally fine. Like, if I was to say that, I would be lying. Like, there are certain days where I'm just like, damn, if I'm going to get this much hate, like, why am I even doing
right.
this? Like, these people,
Right.
but then they win, then they win.
Right.
So
Absolutely.
it's a constant battle. And the most twisted part to me is that at the end of the day, number one, just trying to fish and catch fish and have fun,
Right.
make other people have fun. And that's the other thing that's number two is
Right.
help other people to have fun, So
I
that's
have
enough.
noticed though,
Yeah.
a dark side of the fishing world um, is that it's not as if you start learning how to play an instrument or a sport or something, you usually find people that want to help make you better.
Hmm.
I feel like in fishing, it's not necessarily like that. There's more of a I'm not going to share my secrets and you'll never be as good as me because you haven't been doing it as long as me and all, there's like this like
So many
you
things. Yeah.
can't know what I know. There's that like I gotta hold you down or kind of thing. So So that I would love to change. And that is what I love to do on the boats with the customers is tell them what I know. Why
Yeah.
not? This
Yeah.
is what I'm here for, and I love sharing what I have learned. And it hasn't been easy to learn, this stuff at all, but
I bet
I
when you
love
get
being
kid
able to
customers,
explain
they
it.
love you. Because when I was
They,
a
I
kid, I
mean,
was the biggest fish nerd. I would have been asking you so many questions. Been
I
like,
mean, the questions that I can't answer, I definitely, redirect to the captain, if I can't answer them. But I just think
London, how are
I'm great.
babies made? Talk to the
Exactly.
captain. Sorry,
Exactly. Let me
son.
talk to your parents first.
Yeah,
But yeah,
I can't
so
hear you. My headphones are on. Sorry.
right. So, I don't know. My whole thing is that the good, the bad, the ugly, whatever, it's all beautiful because we get to go out there and we get to be in the water and we get to do this amazing. I mean, do you call it a sport? I don't even know
Yeah,
what
it is a
you would call
sport. It
it
takes
because it's like
skill.
it's this like life-changing adventure every day that
It's the
like
best sport on
it's
earth.
more than a sport. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
It's
it's the
like
best
I don't
sport
know. I
on
can't
earth.
explain it.
Because honestly, when you lose a fish, you don't get like a trophy. Like kids nowadays playing basketball in like 5th grade, the losing team gets a trophy. Like go fishing. That'll teach you
I
about
didn't know that.
loss. Lose Oh
Right.
yeah.
And
Yeah,
patience.
patience,
Right.
loss,
That's what I
how to
said.
control your
For fishing,
anger.
you gotta have a positive
When you're like
attitude.
me and throwing 2 rods in the lake in one session, and I'm like, wow, I need to
Oh my
relax.
goodness. No,
But that was a
yeah.
long
Stay
story. That
positive.
was a long story. It's actually not a true story. I'll take that back. I'll
I'm curious
wipe it
about
from the
that
record.
story.
Wipe it from the record. It's for another
It's
time.
funny.
I'll tell you when we're fishing for tuna down in
Yeah.
Louisiana. But yeah,
But yeah, I'm excited. And it's been, I guess, like a year and a half since I've been doing this offshore. I put in solid full year.
yeah,
One
like
of the
no
only
days off
women in
unless it's
Venice
weather.
fishing full time all winter. And I just passed my captain's course, my
Whoop,
captain's
whoop.
license mailed in my packet. Woo, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just like, what? I'm so excited. So, I'm
So
just
next thing you know, you're gonna
excited
have
to,
your own boat, and
I won't say maybe a soul grow boat or something, but I'm
something
excited to see
where,
where this takes me,
yeah, yeah. No,
I'm
I think
grateful for
you're.
it all.
I think the journey is just beginning, honestly. And if you keep putting good energy out there and keep doing good things for the kids, and the fish gods will watch out for you.
And
So
the
what
birds.
are some of the yes, absolutely. What are some of the most memorable catches? Like, let's try to think of the number one most
Well,
memorable
that's easy. I
catch.
can tell you. That was last year. It was a week before the anniversary of my brother's passing. And we went on a fun trip, which is not always the case. Those are kind of few and far in between. So I was able to fish all day. Everybody had hooked up. I was kind of, helping everybody, not rushing to be the first one hooked up or anything like that. And that's kind of my like how I do it anyway. I'll, get the bait. I like to serve first and then have my fun. So
Yeah.
that's how it went. And I had the last one of the day and it was hooked up and I knew it was Matt, my brother. Like I can't even explain it to you. And he was, the fish came up like, I don't know, like 4 times and then ran or something like that. Like, the knot kept coming and going. It was like one of those things we couldn't believe it. It was over an hour and a half.
Wow.
And looking back, it was
That's a
193
long
pounds.
battle. Like, honestly, I've
Yeah.
never fought a fish that long. That's insane.
It was 193. I'm like crying, I like, I can't explain it because like while you're reeling in the fish and it's taking forever, part of you is like, wow, I wish this was over, right?
Oh,
Let's get him in
definitely.
the
I've
boat.
felt that before where
But
I'm just like, I
but for
kind of wish it
me,
would
I was
escape. No, I'm just
but
kidding.
for me, it felt like I was like playing with my brother. Like we were like running in the yard together or something. So every
He
time
was
it would
there.
go,
He was
I was
there.
like, it's okay, take it, because I felt like I was able to be with him longer. I can't explain it, but
I get
that
what you're
was my
saying.
most
That's
memorable.
amazing.
And
That's
yeah, and that
amazing.
was like, yeah, that was lump season, so it's coming up again.
Lump season. How long is lump season?
Well, I guess let's see what the weather decides to do, but
Uh,
it's typically like mid-February to April, or like early February,
and it lasts till
April-ish,
early February,
mid-April.
April. That's it.
Yeah.
Okay, got you. Yeah. I kind of want to come down. because I have all of March off, and there's
I
no
mean, you
content up
absolutely
here.
should.
I really should.
Come on.
All right, we'll talk offline about that. That sounds
Okay,
sick.
that would be awesome.
And I have my own production gear, so we could actually shoot like an entire movie that maybe the captain could use for his charter.
He would love it. He's awesome. He does all kinds of stuff too.
Yeah, I've got
You should interview him. Actually, his name is Brandon.
that
Brandon
would be
Hendrickson.
dope. Yeah. No,
He's
that would
got
be
like
really
the
cool.
world record for like holding his breath for like 9 seconds or something crazy.
9
Or
seconds.
9 minutes. 9 minutes.
9
Wait, I can do
minutes. Jesus.
I know, right? I'd be like, what? Something
Aqualung.
great. Like, yeah, it's like 8. It's almost 9 minutes.
That's
insane.
absolutely wild.
It just doesn't make sense. Yeah. I know.
So what are some oh, here's a good one. What is a fish that you'll never forget like getting away? That was like the most heartbreaking fish that you ever lost.
that we lost at the boat, or that?
Yeah, like one that you saw.
Getting
I would
away.
assume it would.
I'm sorry. I thought you said getting weighed.
Oh, not getting weighed. No,
I was
no,
like,
no.
I try and I would say, it's a bummer anytime that customers have, put their heart into it and have this expectation, and it gets away and they don't understand,
Yeah, well, they're not going to have a shot tomorrow at it, like a lot of people,
Right.
that's like a trip that they do maybe once a year if they're
Right.
lucky.
To me, it's not fish I'll lose. It's the fish that the customers would lose because I get to do this. You know what I mean? It's work for me.
Yeah, you're good. You're
most
cool.
of the time, right.
Yeah.
But
You'll be out there tomorrow
it's
getting
them
another
losing
one.
them. I like, I'm
So
like,
what's have you ever seen like somebody cry from losing a fish?
No, but I've seen captains not speak for 2 hours after.
Wow.
I've seen that kind of, people just stop talking, and I'm so cheerful in general, and even at those times I know not to make a joke.
You're like, turn the cheerful button down a little bit. Like,
no one speak.
oh my God.
But
So like in
that's
terms
how
of
it
like
goes.
length of a fight, have you ever had somebody like fight a fish for like 3 hours and then lose it?
Yes, and actually,
Oh my
the
God.
original thought that I had when you had asked the question was this past winter. We had stayed out super late. I mean, super late, and we were like 70 miles out. And we had, I guess, like maybe 3, XL yellowfin in the boat, and my captain was just like, more, which is great because that's kind of funny how the customers are too. They'll be like, "Hi, good morning. We'll have 6 yellowfin, a wahoo, a swordfish." And you'd be like, "Oh, okay,
Yeah, no
right
problem.
away, coming
Yeah.
right up."
Just will them right up. Don't worry.
Right. So they had like, it was like a crew of 4. So we had 3, and he was like, "All right, we're gonna get one more," because then they were like, "No, everybody needs their own," So we're like, "Oh my goodness." So it was
Oh
a
my
2-hour-ish
God, one of
fight.
those.
It was a 2-hour-ish fight. We stayed out so late, and lost it at the boat. Like, it was like a unfortunate. The fish just like looked straight. I got lined up and shook its head and spit the hook, and it was right there.
You looked into its eyes?
Harpoon. Yeah.
Ah.
It's like but
So are
that
you
happens.
harpooning
And
them, or
they
you,
had 3 big ones in the boat already, so you can't be too.
Yeah,
hard,
you can't be
know what I
too
mean?
upset about that. Come on. You
Right.
got like
How much meat do you guys really want to take
that was
home,
another
right?
question I had for you. Like if you say you have a family flying from New York City, right? And they catch like 300-pound yellowfin and they just want enough to eat at like the resort or whatever. Where does the rest of the meat go? Do you guys have a license to sell it?
No, we don't sell it. We give it away.
Wink, wink.
No,
I'm just kidding.
Oh my God, absolutely. It's my favorite thing to do, especially tomorrow is a tournament day. So like when we catch our big 200-pounders tomorrow, yeah. See, I'm saying it already.
Yep, you got to will it into existence.
Thank you, God. That that fish will be able to give away, and we'll vac seal it and cut up massive chunks and give it to people, and they'll feed their families for a week. It gets, none of it gets wasted. It gets donated, given away here or there. Like, it's one of my favorite gifts to give.
I'm running out of time, but I feel like I have so many more questions. Most of our future episodes for this season are all going to be female anglers. And so I would like to ask you, what is one piece of advice you would give to a female angler on the come up who's considering, in one way or another, making a living off of the fishing industry?
I would say work hard, do your job well, and try and not worry about the haters. Because, if there's one thing that I've learned is that there's no denying, that the customers and the captains I work for, my work speaks for itself. And I think that if you can be a good deckhand or do your job well, then they can't take that away from you.
Yeah, as long as you're, I mean, I'm just listening to it,
Be
nodding
good
my
at
head.
it.
I actually zoned out. Like, that's kind of my exact feeling on the whole thing. Like, as long as you're producing, as long as you're, catching fish, putting out content, doing your best to do whatever it is.
Keeping customers happy.
Yeah, I feel like
booking trips, the whole 9 yards.
Whatever it is.
It's all happening. And I'm having so much fun doing it. And the customers are too. I even just, I don't know, we could have this whole conversation all over again. You know how it is. But yeah, I mean, I think that the world is changing too. Like someone said to me the other day, like, I'm a new flavor. And it's true because, like typically there's like a big 7 foot, 300 pound, whatever guy like bringing in these fish, and I'm 5'2", and that's fine. I'm doing it too. And I have other things that I bring to the table,
Hell yeah. What are your plans after lump season?
So fish. And then I head actually up north to run my 20th marathon, the Newport, Rhode Island Marathon for Camp Soul Grow. So I'll be up there and then head to Montauk. It's been a while, but maybe we could get some fishing in. Yeah,
I mean, you're going to be up right at the beginning of striper season.
Yeah, it's April 17th.
Yeah, and we actually had an early run last year. They came in really thick before May last year. So, which doesn't normally happen, and people are probably going to troll me for that and be like, "What are you talking about? Last year was shut up. I was there. I was there." All right, London. Well, thank you so much for calling into the BFC podcast. We really appreciate you being a guest, and I'm going to talk to you more offline about lump season because I need to get down there and get punished by one of these yellowfin.
Yes, you do.
I really do. And I'll eat one of their hearts.
Come on.
I heard that's like part of the ritual, like when you get a big one.
Yes, it is.
All right. Well, I'll have my chopsticks ready. And I'm just kidding. There's no way chopstick could handle one of those hearts. They're probably like grapefruits. But anyway, thank you so much. And maybe we'll do a part 2 after lump season.
Let's do it.
All right, cool. Sounds good. I'll talk to you soon.
All right. Thanks so much.
All right. Bye. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of the BFC podcast. This episode was brought to you by Brooklyn Fishing Club Apparel. We've updated our pricing and restocked everything in the shop. For a limited time, you can purchase any 2 items for $15 off using the code COUPON15, all caps for the word coupon. Plus, if you're a member, you get an extra 10% off at checkout. Say you want a shirt and a hat, only $45. Visit brooklynfishingclub.com/shop to take advantage of this combo deal or shop right on our IG page at Brooklyn Fishing Club.